Tapping into the shadow is a technique that many successful people, Elon, Steve, Jeff, all use. It's a technique that main characters use, and it's something I've used to start learning to code at 10 years old and build apps with over millions of users. Really, the main difference between people who succeed and don't is how they tap into their strongest power, the unconscious. These aren't just my observations. Carl Jung actually wrote whole books about it. In fact, he coined up this term. I'm going to explain all my learnings and observations in 3 steps and how I've used it to tap into the shadow myself. First step is the beginning, and it's going to be hard, but it's learning to become aware of the shadow. These are intrusive thoughts you have when, let's say, you see someone standing and you want to push them over, when you feel a hidden sense of jealousy when you see someone. A lot of times we feel very wronged in feeling these things, and we admonish ourselves, we berate ourselves. This isn't actually the right thing to do. Your existence is the only thing you have in the world. Everything else is, you're connected to it in some way, but your main source of life is you. So if you're slapping yourself, that's not really a healthy, positive thing in the first place, much less it's not going to really bring you any good mental clarity. And you might be wondering that, is this shadow stuff just nonsense? And if it's really BS, because what if you go down this path of accepting those dark thoughts? You're going to become a bad person, are you going to become a villain, are you going to start doing sociopathic things? Not really. It's actually when you not repress these thoughts that you don't do it. So for example, you've heard about the priests who end up abusing kids. The reason is because they denied their shadow, their unconscious existence, and repressed their sexuality. They end up having to take it out on little kids that they find themselves in power over, because they're not able to take it out in a healthy way in a relationship. Same thing with a lot of abusive people and things like that. It's because they're not aware of their unconscious, that haven't accepted it, that it leaks out in all these different ways. So all the people who wear those tight faces and walk around like this, or smile with a very big, that they seem like the best person in the world and they can't do anything, those people, if they have either conquered their shadow, which starts with becoming aware of it, or they've simply just repressed it so much, and the more you push down a spring, the harder it's going to bounce up. And that's why becoming aware of all these thoughts is not important in that you learn to act on them. What you do is you learn to see them in front of you so you can derive what the roots are coming from. So if I sense jealousy when I see a friend making more money than me, it's really that I feel that I can get there, and what am I lacking? And when you become aware of it, only can you think about these things and then realize that, oh, I can switch that to a growth mindset and use that for stuff like, I also want to become better, and once I'm better and I have an ambition to become better, I will also start making money. There's several techniques for becoming aware of it. You could meditate, you could journal, you could just learn to be in the moment and just feel those emotions. Some people are naturally gifted than others. Some are raised in a naturally oppressive family that always violates that. A lot of Asian families are like this. Depends on a lot of different factors, but at the end of the day, it's just becoming aware of it. What drives you? What are your factors? From this, then you realize what your passions are too. Is it really when you see, let's say a friend made a really good painting and you feel jealous, even though you didn't make any money off of it? That could point that you have an inherent artistic talent that maybe just have been suppressing because you felt it would never make you money. So maybe that's what's causing you that darkness, that jealousy, that it's pointing towards something good. Well, good as in society calls it good, but in really it's just life. So just once you become aware of it, it starts pointing you to what your funk is, what your craziness is. And all the people who have been super successful in their fields had that craziness, that passion for what they did. And if they just suppressed it and just said, oh man, my nerdiness for computers isn't good, Steve Wozniak would have never made Apple. If the desire to play with gadgets and make a really good experience for people, if they just suppressed that, Steve Jobs wouldn't do it. Same with Elon. If his curiosity did not go beyond and explore why the world is so, he would not try to make an interstellar species. That's step 1. What about step 2? That's aligning it. Once you've made it so that it's able to become aware of it and what your different factors are in your life and what are you thinking about, the problem then is there's going to be also a lot of like straight up bad things. Like, I want to have really violent desires to beat someone up, and you're not able to fully like understand it. You have to extract the nuggets out of that, and it's kind of like aware of it, but taking it more towards the alignment part where it's like, okay, on these things, consciously my choice is this. How do I align the two towards a life that I want? For example, for me, it's like I never felt emotionally understood by everyone. I always had like as a kid, and people just shut me down. So I had a lot of darkness there from like towards people. But the behind it was like I just want to keep exploring and getting better, and I like talking to my ideas to people. And I don't like it when they shut it down just because I'm a kid or I'm young, because that's just bullshit. There's people who are 50 and who think like 10-year-olds. Racism is one of the worst things in the world, and I'm passionately hateful against it. That's why I hate Japanese culture, and that's why I didn't live in Japan for a long time actually. Same with Indian culture, all of Asia actually, and that's why America, without working that many hours, are still ahead. One time a girl I met asked me like how in America people work so little and still the country's much far ahead. Whereas in China it's like there's billions of people and they work like 60-70 hours no matter where they are in society, and still China's like big par with the USA. It's like a positive mindset versus just ageism and BS. Oh yeah, passion there, right? So I went on a mini rant. From this I learned that okay, I care about seeing how far I can go while positively impacting people through my actions. So if I just focus on my darkness, that's just seeing how far I can go, then I become a villain, and then I'm willing to like sacrifice people. That's like a lot of villains are necromancers, or like for example they sacrifice people to learn immortality, or like sacrifice people to create bigger empires so you can see how good of a strategist you are. Whereas for me, it's like I want pure that, but consciously I also still care about people. There's still been positive people in my life, and how do I do well by them? It's like, okay, they should not be negatively impacted, neutral or positively impacted. So if I build a business, it shouldn't be like a slave encampment. It should like give people a wage that they go and spend, and now they can, if they were previously unemployed, they had the opportunity. It shouldn't be forced labor. They can go, if I'm not paying them a good wage, they should be able to go find another job, and because of that I will have to pay them a good wage to keep them, so that way I'll pay good salaries, and this will create a positive atmosphere. Or I can be a bullshit pessimist and not do anything and just complain about people, which is what all the people against entrepreneurs claim are. Just because they're jealous of their success, they'll be like, oh, they're exploiter workers. No, you're not forced to work at Amazon. You could go work at the gas station if you want to. Of course, Amazon does a lot of like and forces it so that the gas station closes, so then Amazon's the only place you can work at. It's not black and white, but there are bad people that are just pessimistic and not contributing to society. Those people are not the ones who are tapping into their shadow and aligning it or are aware of it. They're just like their jealousy is leaking in their protests. And if they simply, instead of protesting that Amazon just thought about it, like, okay, I just build a better Amazon. That's make better use of your shadow. Or like how to organize all these people and collect that. Yeah, one time at school, like the head of the Amazon labor union came and like, someone built a company that gave you jobs and all you're doing is just like against it just so you could, and this guy was like dropping earrings and all that. I'm like, all that's up. So from all those stories, I hope you got some from my craziness on how to align things. The third part is actually, you might think that once you get the ball rolling, it's gonna be easy. The third part is actually execution. And no, I don't mean acting on your dark thoughts. I mean, you are aware of it, you know, 4 principles underneath. You've created a positive alignment with your conscious mind, which hopefully your conscious mind has, well, a consciousness and does not want to hurt people. Once you create those two, okay, now do I act upon this? What are actionable steps I can take? This is where positive visualization, manifestation, goal setting, systems, your habits, that's a whole productivity video on its own. But the main principle there is, okay, now you need to start thinking about putting this into practice every single day, every single hour I can, every single minute of that hour. A lot of people I see like this set a goal, like a time block, but then during the hour they're checking their phone every now and then. Super deep work, fully focus on that, just like a meditation session, on your breath, on your work. People who watch like working, I mean, like broad like career work, I understand, but if you're doing like that's like the worst. I don't think I'd ever hire someone like that unless I'm looking for cookie cutter work, which school genuinely like gives over during school work. Yeah. Once you execute, you're actually gonna first realize there's flaws in steps 1 and 2. You're gonna think, whoa, this is boring. So you're gonna be like, okay, actually aware of my actual motivations. So you're gonna go and modify that. And sometimes you're not gonna make progress towards what you're doing, what you really wanna do. And you're gonna realize, oh, there's some alignment issue. Is my conscious mind too strong? Is it too repelling? I mean, a lot of times that happened to me. I've been thinking, okay, what I should be doing when I work, and I'm like, oh, why do I not feel fulfilled making these videos? Like, my friends would tell me to make videos about my startups and be like, that's just boring. I work all day and then I don't want to make videos about what I work on. So there was misalignment in steps 1 and 2, and then and one executing it. I'm glad I did. If I just overthink it and never did it, then I'd always be wondering, was it the right thing? It's only when you sometimes act that you learn more about steps 1 and 2 and refine towards it. So I'd say it's like 30, 70, 20, thinking, 80% acting, maybe even 10, 90. There should be still at least a little bit of this and a little bit, it shouldn't be like 199%, you know? We'll do the opposite, 99% thinking, 1% acting. Voila. Once you get all those things sorted out, all those things aligned, your life will change. It has it for me. I've been through a very depressive period. And only when I start to learn to accept my shadow and be like, okay, there's something underneath. This is not just because my mom and dad always scolded me for things doesn't mean I have to scold myself. And now I'm here making a video, feeling confident making a video. Worked on my jawline. I didn't used to always look this way. And then because of that, I'm confident to make this video. It's kind of all adds up, you know? I executed on my facial, got rid of my acne, so now I feel confident I can make videos. And now I have a lot of jealous friends just like videos, but then like never like, so I don't know how to get rid of those people. Yeah, it's like it hurts my videos algorithm. So please don't be one of those people. Like and subscribe if at this point you find value in it. That would really help me. Some extrinsic motivation, but mainly it comes from internal motivation. Hopefully. Sometimes I wonder how much. It's like I'm internally motivated towards extrinsic motivation, so that when I see the numbers climb, it's just like in soccer when you score a goal, like you're just chasing a goal. Is that internal or external? Because alright, see you next time.